Welcome. Please have a seat. I hope you all enjoyed this morning's keynote. We're going to kick off this session, which actually our lead presenter is Chris Brogan, president of the Human Business Network and established author, and I'm sure you all read his blog, chrisbrogan.com. He is going to be leading a full day, actually, of social media track. So starting with marketing now, and then at 11:30, advertising, and then again on the expo floor at 4:15. And this room will be dedicated to social media for the whole day, and we'll have Victoria Ransom of Wildfire here at the 4:15 session. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Chris Brogan.
Hey, everybody. It's kind of terrifying to have an entire room dedicated to social media. I mean, I feel like we should all try to get all the stereotypes out of the way early and say things like join the conversation and engage and find, sorry, Jimi Hendrix, find the influencers. I think we should just get those all out early, right? And kumbaya, we should all hug each other at some point early in this session. That's really important. I don't like to give bios because it seems like starting the movie with an extra long amount of credits, but I also try to want to qualify why you should bother sitting still long enough to endure the better part of this by having to get through my part of this. So I'm here totally accidentally. My background in marketing is totally self-made. It has nothing to do with going to XYZ school or working with XYZ agency. I was into social media before it was cool, like a hipster. And I was into it because I was raised in Maine and I was surrounded by people who were not into the things that I was into. They were all into Red Sox and cars. And, before the Red Sox won that World Series in 2004, no one was into the Red Sox, really. And I was into, spaceships and superheroes and dragons and things like that. So when I found the online world, I was able to connect with people by interest, not by proximity. And this is way back in the way old days. And I thought, there's some magic in that old silk hat. So years and years later, I just accidentally became someone involved in social media because I was using the tools to blog back in '98 when they were calling it journaling. I was using bulletin board services and AOL and CompuServe. I wasn't cool enough to be on the well, but otherwise I have my geek cred. Walking up the stairs out there, by the way, I saw the tripod.com thing, and I thought, holy cow, we've gone through a hot tub time machine. Tripod was big in the 90s, right? It was like a big hosting site. And I didn't realize that they're not only alive and well, but have Gamesville and things. The whole you all showing up in my backyard thing with social media is interesting to me because I find that advertising is alive and well. Please don't let people say that advertising is dead. The only thing that's dead is bad advertising. But I find that when it comes to how that little, putting your chocolate in my peanut butter moment of advertising in social media gets a little weird, is when I see things like follow us on Twitter and there's just a T, or hang out with us on Facebook. It's always in the bottom right corner of every ad that you spend a lot of time on, especially on billboards. The equivalent of this, by the way, is going up to a hot girl at the bar, handing her a napkin and saying, call me, and she looks down and there's an icon of a phone. Good luck with that one. There's a lot more to it than that. There's a lot more to them we should connect. The other thing I see that's done a little awry is the fact that if you took how you use social media right now into the analogy of a cocktail party, you'd feel a little weird about what you were doing. Because essentially what a lot of people do via the advertising into social channel is this. Hey, how are you? Man, am I awesome. I am so amazing. You know what I'd love you to do? I've got a handful of business cards. Can you go give these to people? I want you to just give these to as many people as you can. Would you do that? Because I'm awesome. I'd love it if you do that. That is what we do when we do things like push the like button to get the cool content in there, meaning spam your friends to look at what's behind the like wall. And that's what you get when you have that sort of moment of retweet this enough times and we'll give money to hungry kids. That's amazing. I would just give the money to the hungry kids. I don't think there needs to be the retweet part. So these are the things, I'll start with the things that bug me and work into the things I love. I also was supposed to say as part of my bio that I was the lead singer of a boy band called Stately Wayne Manor, but I made that up. The opportunity for social media, we've had a couple of hours of playtime, but as I believe Eddie Murphy said in Raw, playtime's over, baby. We have an opportunity to look at this in a different way. And I tend to look at things from the mindset of the sales cycle. To me, what I look at is how do I use social media to build revenue for a company? Advertising most often is in the awareness part of that cycle. But as we've seen, did anybody read the HBR article from a while back where McKinsey says that there's the CDL, the customer decision loop, I think is what they called it, and then now everybody's made their own version. Forrester has their version, etc. I don't know what I'm going to call mine yet, but I'm going to call it the circular thing. And what it means is basically, sales funnel used to be like this. It was like a fly in a fly paper or something. Oh, look, there's advertising. Oh, I'm stuck in the fly paper. Oh, I'm, dispensed with. And that's what sales was, is get them in the funnel, qualify them, kill them, take their money and leave. But that's not how we buy anymore. The way we, according to the experts, we buy is we ask our friends, we do a lot of research, we come very much more equipped to when we're going to buy, and we ask a lot more people than we ask documentation. The reason Google got into Google Plus as a social network is that they realized that people were asking their friends things that they used to ask Google. That's one of the main reasons behind this. What bag should I buy for travel used to be a search on Google, and now it's a question on Google Plus or on Twitter or wherever you spend your time. So the trick is, how do we do something to cultivate visibility in that space, which is what advertising does best? And then how do we do something to earn leverage in that space, which is what social media does best? If I were to give you the roadmap in my mind, the idea is, how do you do something more with that visibility to save your space at the table when you don't have to wow and amaze somebody? And how do you then take that conversation and be there before the sale so that when that little circular decision loop is going on, people know how to reach, communicate, two-way street kind of experience with you and understand what they want to do with your company? Are we all pretty good so far? I'm always nervous that I'm either talking like you learned this years ago and you're just looking politely at me, or that you're like, that's kind of profound, only he's using small words. But I'll work my way through that. I am also actually here, by the way. This is not a YouTube video, so feel free we can interact throughout the day. And I bathed, so I smell at least reasonably well. With cultivating visibility, what I'm talking about is how do you get into these social channels and be where the people are in a meaningful way? How do you do it in a way that's not just interruption? We understand that advertising is interruption, and there's these two streets that happened way back in the day, and one of them was the David Ogilvy, the customer's not a moron, she's your wife. And then there was we're going to be bothering them, we might as well be interesting. And as you'll see today, we have examples of all this. And I tend to believe that the social media part of the story should be the David Ogilvy part, the part where we try to earnestly have conversation and we earnestly try to do something to help convert. A quick side note of where my company fits into this, and it's not a pitch, I promise, is that we think that there's two parts of the sales cycle that I'm good at. And one of them is customer conversion, which is that part after you've done qualification and all that, and where you actually get them to do something. And then the other is community nurturing. And the community nurturing one is the one I wanted to bring up because the earn leverage part that I mentioned, so there's cultivate visibility, there's earn leverage. I want referrals. To me, the gold standard of getting more out of your advertising, getting more out of your marketing is referrals. I want more people to be talking about me than I'm talking about me. It's really one thing, like I said in that cocktail party analogy, if I walk up and I say, hey, I'm awesome, you wouldn't believe how awesome I am. Let me give you my business cards so you can hand them out to my friends. That's, creepy and not good. However, when other people come up and say, you've got to meet Chris, he's a nice guy, he's really smart, he knows what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Chris, give this guy your card, we should talk later. That's what you're aiming for, right? That's referrals. The gold standard book on referrals, by the way, is a book called The Referral Engine by John Jantsch. iPad users, just buy it now. I love Kindle. Sorry, Barnes and Noble. Referral engine talks a lot about the sort of how-to on that, so I'll just skip that whole part of the speech. But the idea is, how do you get customers to do something with your brand after you've handed it over, after you've put out the advertisement, you've got them talking about it? How do you get them to be loyal? The word loyalty is really fascinating to me in the marketing world. What the word loyalty seems to have translated to in the marketing world is, please send me many more emails than you would send the person who hasn't opted in for a message. Please beat me until I push the buy now button. And then when I hit the buy now button, I'm going to hit you with 8 more offers. I want to beat you, loyal person. It's fascinating, isn't it? It's amazing how we treat customers. If you left the room with nothing more than, boy, that guy was weird, rethink loyalty. Rethink what the word means to your company, because what it kind of should mean is, this person's bought 5 things with us. We should treat them so nice. We should give them extra things. We should make them a special phone number they can call that they can totally eliminate the phone tree. There should be just a lot of really cool things you could do with loyalty that has nothing to do. By the way, should you think that loyalty and customer retention and these kinds of things are not the province of advertising? I think you're wrong. I think that there's a couple things that you need to realize. You are all in sales. You are all in the sales department. And you are all in the customer service department. Now, one of these things is easy to make you believe. The other one, you scoff. It's different for different people in the room. But you are all in sales, meaning that if you're not driving revenue, then you're no longer the agency of record at that business. If you're not doing customer service, then why bother doing the advertising? It costs much more money to advertise than it does to retain. If you could do both for a company, there's where the money is. It's not a billable hours kind of a conversation. It's a what should be done to make revenue for a company kind of conversation. The other thing I just want to talk to you about social media is measure what matters most. Look for meaningful metrics. 1 million views of a YouTube video does not feed my child. Making the register ring feeds my child. So it's great to have viral video. It's great to have something move. But if you can't show the revenue for it, it doesn't matter. You have to measure what matters most. And 10,000 likes on Facebook changes nothing. Suddenly the doors do, and all of a sudden the gold manna falls from the sky. I've looked, nothing like that happens. I went to the bank to see if I could stop paying my mortgage based on my clout score. And it turns out no. I tried, though. I was seeing if that was a perk. By the way, in a world where I am 2 points away in clout than Shaquille O'Neal, the basketball player, I think the system is a little awry. Because if that's a measure of influence, and there's me and Shaq here, I'll tell you who's going to have the bigger line. I'll tell you who's going to get the better seat at the table. And I tell you who's going to have the interesting conversation with CEOs of companies later, and it isn't Chris Brogan. Totally unrelated to anything. If you try to put Chris Brogan into Bing, it keeps trying to put up Chris Brown, the singer. I look just like him. The rest of the day is going to be an interesting mix of things, because it's a bunch of brands and also agencies doing the work of how do you attack this social space. What's kind of interesting to me about it is that it's a really tough thing to be a bigger company thinking, how do we get down onto the level of talking with kids? The thing with social media is it doesn't scale. It's the least scalable of all media. It's a very hands-on thing. It's a one-to-one thing. I can't cut and paste compliments to my girlfriend and make sure that that's going to work. You know what I mean? You look stunning and ravishing today. It just isn't a way to do it. So there's a lot more hand-holding that's required in these social media spaces. So how do brands use it? How do brands find the right leverage points to have real live two-way conversations and not get swamped in the minutia of talking to one customer at a time? I mean, if we had an individual conversation, all of us, starting with you, and we'll work our way down, it would be like to the end of the day and we'd have gotten nowhere. How do we do that in social media? Because the opposite is, how do I seem like I'm addressing all of you but not really speaking to you? So that's the challenge. And I think it's probably the hardest thing out of it. When I said measure what matters most, the only last thing I want to think about is that you tend to want to measure either conversions or revenue, no matter what. And I understand that you have other measurements that are like the magic tricks of advertising agencies and whatever. If that's how you get paid, have a ball. But if I'm the company side of things, I want to see revenue and I want to see conversion. And conversion could be, I'm willingly signing up to your email list, please don't kill me. Or I'm willingly signing up into some other kind of cycle that keeps me closer to the vest of the organization that's doing the business. This could be join my Facebook group. It could be something on one of these social networks like Google+. But most often I do mean like an email list, because the other thing to remember is investing in one social platform is the wrong goal. Investing in your buyer is the goal. So you want to be where they are, and the current key to the realm on every single social platform is still the email address. So owning and working a good email list, having a great email database of people that you don't piss off is the gold standard. You live or die by your database. Jeff Pulver told me that. It was the second thing he told me when he hired me in 2007, and it's the thing that's made me the most money. If you treat your database as if they're real people and you treat them like they're people who matter to you, then you will continuously make revenue off of them. I understand that that's not always the way with consumer brands, but this is the model I work from. So we're going to have some conversations. I'm going to bring up the first set of speakers, and I'm just going to refer to my notes. Just so I don't blow anything. By the way, do you want to know why Steve Jobs is like one of the most amazing salespeople in the world? Because when I bought the iPad, I hated it so much I bought a MacBook Air. But here's how he's really amazing. I bought an iPad 2 just in case it got better. True story. Makes me look sad. Okay, we're going to bring up Roger Katz, who's CEO and founder of Friend to Friend Incorporated, and Lucas, am I saying it right? Onofre, from Desigual, and I probably said that wrong too. And they're going to be our first presentation, and then I'll come back on and introduce Peter Stork and Julie Fleischer. So Roger and Lucas.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Do we need to switch our screen to the bigger screen? Okay, so good morning. I'm Lucas Onofre from Desigual, the Digital Marketing Manager. We're here to tell you a little bit about the brands and some cool stuff that we've done in social media. So Desigual is a fashion apparel brand founded in 1984 in Spain. And throughout the 27 years we've been in business, we've grown from a national wholesale distributor to a multi-channel business with over 8,000 points of sales all over the world. We have 10 stores in the US, and we're opening our online shop in about 2 weeks. Desigual is a very particular brand because we really like to touch people with emotion. So our vision as a brand is to inspire people and create positive emotions through our garments for everyone, and as well as share happiness and our love for life and our unconventional spirits with our customers. And we like to think that we dress people, not bodies. Desigual is a brand also known for its products. I mean, this is the very basic foundation of the brand, because at Desigual, we really like to create clothes and accessories with a heart. It's very important to touch people with emotions through our clothing. Also, Desigual is very known for as an unconventional brand. This is we like to everything we do as marketing. We like to always push the boundaries with our events and our campaigns. So this is a good example. This is one of the events from the KISS Tour, which were held last year in 3 European cities. We gathered about, I think, in total, more than 10,000 people in different locations around Europe, and we had them kiss each other. Freely. So, if you want to come for the next one. And this one is also a very, very interesting one. Perhaps you might have known, people from New York. This is an event that takes place every year, twice a year, to celebrate the beginning of the sales season. So it's called the Undie Party. So we ask people to show up in our stores wearing their underwear, and we give them a free outfit. So this is a store here in Soho last year. Also, Desigual likes very much to leave a trademark everywhere we go. This is here in New York, in Herald Square. We painted a whole wall. Maybe if you walk past, you'll recognize. And, I mean, just to kind of make the shift into social, into digital, I mean, Desigual is really originally a print advertisement company. So this is some of the stuff that we have done in the past on print. And for us in digital, really the main challenge is to translate all this amazing stuff that we do offline into a digital experience. And for us, in social media, it really offers great opportunities for us to resonate the voice of the brand, and to send the message much with more powerful methods than a print advertising campaign would be able to do. So here's Roger Katz. He's going to walk you through some of the campaigns that we've done in the past. Roger?
Great, thanks, Lucas. Again, my name is Roger Katz. I'm with Friend to Friend, and we have partnered on several social media campaigns with Desigual. And I think just to finalize on this slide, as Chris was mentioning, this loyalty loop or advocacy loop is really a critical component of social media marketing. It's taking a consumer or a fan and giving them an experience with the brand where they can engage their friends, bring their friends into the brand, and so on and so on. So actually, I'm wearing a Desigual shirt today for this presentation. And I don't know if you saw me on the Undies picture. I was first in line, and I arrived half naked and left with a shirt. So the first thing I want to talk about an application we did to support the KISS Tour. And you're going to notice this is really simple, but it hinges on a social behavior and a social element, and that's sending a friend a kiss. In this case, it could be a smoking hot kiss, or it could be a vampire kiss, or the kiss of a dog. But the fan selects a kiss, selects the sound of a kiss, adds a personal message to their friend, sends that kiss, picks their friends, and what they're doing here is reminding the friend of the KISS Tour in the store, giving them a special invitation, an RSVP, and providing a gift at the store if the user should go for the KISS Tour. And friends receive this message on their wall. Now think about what's happening here. Using a social action that's aligned with and involved with the brand is a part of the communication between friends. It's not a friend sending along an ad to their friend for Desigual. It's a social action that has interaction between friends and results in promoting an in-store event, which again provides value for fans of the brand. So now to the Undie Party, one of my personal favorites for obvious reasons. This is setting up a social interaction around who do you want to see half naked? And setting up again, now this wouldn't probably work for Chase, but it works for Desigual because it's really aligned with their advertising, their brand, and unconventional marketing. And a user's picking a friend, again, reminded of an in-store event. Now, Desigual doesn't expect 10,000 people to show up on the street in their underwear, but they would like a couple of hundred. And man, does that create a lot of buzz and interest in the brand when it happens on Broadway. Again, posted in the wall, the brand is right there in the conversation between friends with some provoking content, but a personal message. And then finally, another application tying to an in-store event, happy hour, Paris Rivoli location. And in this case, the user is picking another virtual gift item, a balloon, and the balloon is going to count down to the store opening. And when the store opening arrives, there's going to be a surprise for users on Facebook with this balloon. The balloon pops and reveals a gift. But also in the store, a parallel event is happening. Balloons are provided to users. Users pop the balloon and realize what their gift is in store. So you see a lot of parallel experiences of what happens online and what happens offline. In this case, could be a 30% off coupon for clothing in the store, or being one of several people to win a free outfit. So with that, I'd like to turn it back over to Lucas to tell you a little bit more about what these type of promotions mean for the brand.
Okay, so really, some of the campaigns that we've seen, we've done other campaigns as well, they're highly viral campaigns, so they've allowed us to grow our fan base from, I think, 24,000 to over almost 400,000 fans today. And this fan base is really, really important for the business because we're referring people to our shops, we're sending traffic to their online shop, we're getting lots of referrals from them. People are advocating our brand, they're recommending our product, we're getting new customers. So it's very strategic for the business.
And I just want to jump in on that point. And Desigual is looking at this not as a counter of how many fans do I have today, but they're realizing that this is arguably the first real online branded community, and it's an opportunity to provide experiences to their fans and have a conversation with their fans.
Correct. And I mean, that's so connecting with our customers as the brands, being close to them, and also it's a big fan base to make Facebook tailored promotions for our online store. So it's working really well for us. So basically, the key takeaways for you, I think, is to be successful in a social media campaign, you really got to make sure you're authentic, relevant, and transparent as a brand. Second, when you planning a campaign, a 360 campaign, as we planned, like the Andy Party one, which has print, advertising, PR, and social, it's very important to integrate seamlessly the social media campaign across the whole marketing mix.
You know, one of the things we're trying to point out in this presentation today is looking for opportunities to provide experiences for your fans, whether they're online, whether they're in store, because people share experiences, and social media marketing is about taking your existing fans and consumers and giving them an opportunity to project your brand out to their friends. The other key element here is you notice all of these examples were tied between the online experience with the brand and the presence of the brand with the offline experience, and then giving people in the physical locations experiences that they'd want to then share online. So it's a nice virtuous loop, and you can tell it's totally aligned with where the brand's at and what their consumers expect.
Finally, a good social media campaign is really one that works. I mean, it could be, simplicity is really the key, and it could be as simple as sending a kiss to everyone.
Or showing up half naked to a store and getting a free shirt. So,
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Roger Katz, the CEO of Friend to Friend, and Lucas Onofre, the digital marketing manager at Desigual. I'm going to say your name wrong every time on the thing. What I liked about it was the creation of sort of a social object, so to speak. Instead of having to be like, talk about my brand, it was talk about the kiss, talk about showing up half naked. It was a way to get you around that thing of like my thing. Instead, let's all enjoy this thing that we all like, kissing half naked people. Something like that. Coming up on stage now is Peter Stork, who's Senior Vice President of Research and Analytics at House Party, and Julie Fleischer, who's Director of Content Strategy and Integration at Kraft Foods. Different kind of company, different kind of group. Come right on up. And what I like about all these stories is that it gives you a couple of different bites into what you're going to, what you can do. Some serving suggestions, one might say. So here's the opportunity.
So, marketing cream cheese. We don't usually get to do things as salacious as having people show up at the grocery store half naked or creating kissing events. That would be interesting, but that's not really the way we roll. I'm here on behalf of House Party, and hopefully our slides are going to come up any minute. And it is in the truest social media context because I'm a fan. I'm a client, but I'm also a fan. We have a deep partnership with House Party, and we work with them to do some really important and amazing things for our brands, which is tying together that offline and online experience that Roger and Lucas just talked about. You know, it's really important to get all of the social media spread, advocacy, that leverage that we talk about in the digital world. But in reality, we consume our products in the physical world, right? So Philly cream cheese, we need people to actually try the product and then talk about it to really drive those sales in store to get that ROI going. So chicken fatigue is where we start the story. Philadelphia launched a product just under a year ago called Philadelphia Cooking Cream. And if you haven't tried it yet, I urge you to go out and get it. It is a magical product that takes all of the best of Philadelphia cream cheese, but changes the form of it so it's really much more like a sauce. Think of it like the consistency of maybe a sour cream or like a mascarpone. And what's really amazing with it is all of the things that you can do. But we started by talking about chicken. So we all in this room on average eat about 60 pounds of chicken a year, which means we're cooking it something like 160 times a year. How many of you cook for your families most nights of the week? Chicken show up on your menu kind of often? Really bored with it? Chicken is boring. And most people have very few recipes in their mental cookbook for ways to cook chicken. So they find they're just cooking the same thing over and over again. And Philadelphia Cooking Cream came in and said, you know what, we can solve this problem of chicken fatigue because we can give you some new things to do with your chicken. So if you'll go to the next slide, please, yes. Philadelphia Cooking Cream was one of the largest launches ever for Kraft Foods. It was a $40 million budget. We had a mix of traditional and non-traditional approaches that we used. Philadelphia has done a great job over the past number of years developing our Real Women of Philly community. These are women who are really passionate about Philadelphia cream cheese, so we had a built-in community base that we could use. But we really needed to launch this at scale. It was a really critical launch for the company. And we needed to get big fast, right? So we needed to get a lot of pull at retail very, very quickly. And we had a kind of difficult story to communicate because this isn't a product that people knew before. It was a new to the United States category. It was a new cooking behavior. So we had to teach them not only what this was, but how to use it. And we had to reduce the risk of it because, believe it or not, your weeknight dinner is kind of a high-risk proposition for most people and most of our consumers. You don't want to have to make dinner twice. You don't want to have to make something again because your family won't enjoy it or won't eat it. So the risk posture toward a new product that solves your dinner dilemma is pretty high. We had to generate very quick product trial. We wanted massive reach and scale behind this. And I think Chris said earlier that social doesn't scale. I would disagree in this context. I think social does scale, and we found a way to scale it through our partnership with House Party. We need to increase brand awareness, and we needed to increase purchase intent. And so we partnered with our friends at House Party to create physical, real-life experiences. We had 10,000 house parties with about 16 women per party around the world on the same day, around the United States on the same day. We partnered with HSN to Skype back and forth to amplify our reach even further. We had 160,000 trials in one day, and we gave these women the tools that they could spread the word, and they did. So I'm going to turn it over to Peter, and we have a little video to show you.
Video comes in a moment.
But you won't see it yet. Just wait.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Julie. So our part in the marketing mix, what is House Party? We're a social media company that combines word of mouth, digital word of mouth, and experiential marketing. We generate consumer conversations and recommendations online and off through our community of social influencers, our digital platform, and our in-home events. What does that mean? That means that we have a big community of about 1 million social influencers. We harness them, the right ones among them for the particular campaign, to host parties in their homes and invite their friends, and then to drive conversations and recommendations throughout the land, online and off. That's what we do, and that's what we did here. I'm going to switch over now to the video and pray that it comes up, which I'm confident it will.
In March 2011, Kraft introduced Philadelphia Cooking Cream to help consumers solve the dinnertime dilemma of chicken fatigue by transforming everyday chicken recipes into chef-inspired fare. With the goals of driving trial and increasing brand awareness and purchase intent, Kraft turned to House Party to round out their integrated launch plan, one of the largest campaigns in Kraft history. Over 10,000 Philadelphia Cooking Cream house parties would take place, each in the home of a carefully selected consumer, each representing the product's target demographic, women 25 to 54 who are heavy buyers of cream cheese and innovators in the kitchen. Once confirmed, each host received a party pack that included 4 gratuity coupons for Philadelphia Cooking Cream, a Green Pan Signature stainless steel skillet, and coupons, recipe booklets, and cooking utensils to share with their guests. As part of House Party's proprietary framework to drive reach, engagement, and conversations, a custom microsite was created. In the days leading up to the event, hosts and guests shared their excitement, using the party site to send invitations, receive party updates, post to the party blog, participate in polls, and download party favors. On Party Day, over 138,000 hosts and guests gathered in homes across the country to sample all 4 varieties of Philadelphia Cooking Cream, watching and participating as their hosts prepared dishes with the featured product. 4 select hosts appeared with celebrity chef Todd English on the Home Shopping Network, cooking live from their parties via Skype.
All right, let's get this party started, as we say, right?
Consumers at 10,000 parties learned firsthand how to fight chicken fatigue by creating meals and memories with Philadelphia Cooking Cream. The results, measured by third-party research firm ChatThreads and incorporating coupon redemption, party site traffic, social media mentions, post-party surveys, and a national control panel, were astounding. The campaign drove over 1 million product trials. Brand familiarity rose by 39 points, while purchase intent increased by 60 points. From the original 138,000 partiers, conversations and recommendations, online and off, spread to create over 23 million brand impressions. Perhaps most impressively, the House Party campaign generated over 175% ROI. For every $1 the brand spent, it got back $1.75 in net profit. Now that's a great way to launch a new product and solve a dinnertime dilemma.
Thanks for watching that. Back to these guys here. And I got to click through. All right. So I'm the results guy. At House Party, I'm the one, and my group is responsible to figure out how well these things worked for our clients. This one worked very, very well, right? When we report our results, we report them. I completely agree with Chris that and Forrester and McKinsey and all them, that the marketing funnel has changed, right? It's still, you still got to get awareness, and you still got to change hearts and minds, and you still got to get people to buy. But now you have all these nodes messing up in the middle of the thing, marketing out of your control, people talking for you, either for you or against you or whatever, and we try to harness that. When we report our results, we report them in sort of the format of a traditional marketing funnel. We'll let the brand know how broad was the reach, how deep was the engagement, you know, what was everybody doing, how many photos, how many videos, how many blog posts, et cetera. Then what were the brand lifts, right? Everything else is a means to this end. What were the brand lifts, and what were the sales and ROI? And here are some of the highlights pegged to what Kraft was looking for. 1 million trials, which exceeded their hopes, 23 million impressions, big jump in awareness, but an especially big jump in purchase intent. Those pinned to what their goals were originally. Some other results, we report to them whatever they got. 41,000 applicants. What that means is 41,000 people competed to host these parties. 41,000 people in our community filled out a pretty darn long application to win the chance to host the party in their home and invite their friends and get the nice free food and gifts from Kraft. We chose the 10,100, I believe, who fit the profile best. 972,000 hours of engagement. What does that mean? That's a big number. How do you put that into context? I said we report reach and then engagement. We do is we add up all the time that all those hosts and all those guests and all the what we call conversation partners, all the people out there, offline and online, we add up all the time that they spent on this program engaging with the brand, and we convert it to time, and that came out to 972,000 hours in this case, which is pretty inconceivable. We also happen to divide that by 30-second segments so that we can give the client their CPM 30s, their effective CPM for what they spent every thousands of 30 seconds with consumers, so that they can kind of compare the value with TV commercials. And I'll just say, because I can't reveal it, it was very, very good. It was half what they would pay in TV, and the engagement is no comparison with TV. The favorability and the advocacy intent, the intent to recommend, those lifts were enormous. Some of the themes, what were all these people saying at the parties and before and after the parties, especially after the parties, what were they saying about the brand, the product? These were some of the themes. We track all that. We track it by survey and, of course, by digital monitoring. Quick and easy, delicious, great texture, all the key things that Kraft was trying to get across. Consumers were actually passing along those messages. But the most important metric, as Chris pointed out, and I agree, is that we really did drive sales. I have one last slide to show you. There's a lot in there. See me after if you want more explanation. But basically what we did was we set up control markets, meaning this was a national program, right? Blanket the country with not just with house parties, but with all kinds, big TV and other media and marketing. But in a couple of markets, happened to be Dallas and Minneapolis, we kept house parties out of there, no house parties there, so that afterwards what we could do is we could look at Nielsen sales volume data, scanner data, right, off the cash registers in the stores in cities, and compare those control market sales with the matching markets that did have house parties. And we saw a real lift. We saw a 7% sales lift, which, as the video said, translates to a 175% ROI for the brand. So I think they were ahead, right?
Very.
Oh, I had one more. Sorry. Unless you wanted to do this one. This one,
Nope.
This is one last metric we report. We think it's kind of interesting, so we pulled it out by itself. These are a bunch of quotes. You don't have to read the quotes now. All these slides will be available. But what we do is, one last thing that we report is media receptivity. We kind of made up that phrase. I don't know if it works for anybody. But we ask consumers, we test how likely they are to pay attention to other advertising and marketing, having been exposed to this campaign, meaning having been either an attendee at a house party or just hearing about the product or brand digitally or at the water cooler. And we consistently find that we have a very high increase in noticing the other marketing and media. So with a brand like Kraft, that matters a lot when you're spending tons and tons and tons in other media to know that one of the elements in the mix is making everything else more noticeable and memorable. So back to Julie.
This is basically our dynamic. House Party and Peter create reams of analysis and numbers and pick apart absolutely every little metric that they have. And then I say, you know what, I only need like 4 things. So here's the 4 things that, hopefully in all of that information you took away, because they're the ones that matter to me. 1 million trials. I think it was, 23 million impressions. 41,000 hand raisers. So these were 41,000 people who said, I want to try your product. I want to be involved with your product. And even though they didn't all get to have parties, we get to keep talking to all 41,000 of them. So imagine if you had 41,000 people who said, I really, really, really am invested in this product. Please talk to me about it. If you come out with some new flavors, talk to me about it again. If you've got some coupons, talk to me about it again. I really care about this. That's the database that is, incredibly valuable as we think about marketing and then remarketing and keeping this alive, not just launch and leave. And then finally, the ROI, which was one of the best ROIs for all of the different elements that we did in the Philadelphia Cooking Cream campaign. So I think the key takeaways from this are very similar to Roger and Lucas's key takeaways as well. But I think the critical thing that we have to think about when we're using social media, particularly in a launch situation, particularly in an analog experience that we're then talking about in a digital world, is same kinds of things. How do we provide consumers the tools to talk about our products and these experiences should they want to? How do we be loyal to them? Chris talked about being loyal. Brand loyalty is something that looks a lot like habit these days, and I don't know about you, but there's a lot of brands that would count me as brand loyal who I think totally, rip off that experience, the airlines being the first ones who try to nickel and dime you every minute. I want to be a loyal brand. I don't want my consumers to be brand loyal. I want to be loyal to them. So I want to give them VIP experiences that make them feel special, that make them feel connected to my brand, that make them want to share and to talk about it. Integrate with other media. One of the really great things about the Philadelphia Cooking Cream House Party campaign is that we integrated with Home Shopping Network, and we actually brought our parties to life, on television at that moment, in the right context, in a cooking show where we had a celebrity chef demonstrating how to use the product and making the same dishes that were happening at 10,000 parties around the country. It was a great integrated media moment where we took what we were doing offline, brought it to television, and then gave the tools to share it online. And then really authentic, relevant, and transparent. I think you had, I would say, authentic and fun. Particularly, we're throwing parties here, right? So there's some things that really sort of lend themselves to parties, and getting together with your friends and trying new dishes is one of those. There's some of our products that I will tell you don't really lend themselves to parties. And so we have to make some smart choices in terms of what actually makes sense in this kind of a campaign, in this kind of an environment, and what doesn't. And so we have to be really choiceful about that and true to the brand and true to the consumer. And so I think that's all we have. If you guys want to come back up and show naked people again, the group might like that. Or we could just go straight back to Chris, which is, practically the same.
Good one. Good close.
Peter Stork from House Party and Julie Fleischer from Kraft. I'm a big fan of remix culture, Lawrence Lessig and the like, so what I think we should do is put cream cheese on half-naked people and then kiss them. Yeah, bring that back. If we can have that house party, I'm signing up, Peter. I'll be one of the 41,000 people with my hand in the air. It's interesting, in both situations, the whole thing of the offline to the online and back again. I would say that advertising has had quite a long amount of time to work with the one part of that equation, the offline, and sometimes how to drive them online. But as you've seen, there's this blend thing going on where you have to do both, and it has to go both ways. It has to be, some offline experience has to happen, it has to go back online, and then sometimes it has to drive offline again. In Julie and Peter's case, what they're saying is, here's this offline product, we're going to bring it to a bunch of houses, we're going to do a lot of things to make an online experience around it that still has an offline component to it, but ultimately want to drive people to the grocery stores and beg for Philadelphia cream something. Cooking cream. I'm a great brand advocate, aren't I? I haven't gone to the house party yet. And the same with Desigual. It's really hard to drive people into a retail experience, and there's a lot of gimmicky ways to do it. There's some people on Times Square that take photos. There's all that, and there's lots of ways to try to do something where, you try to make it a community. So it's not just people liking the clothes, but it's the people who like these clothes also are fun and want to show up half-naked places. And that's the goal. So this wraps this particular part, and we have, I even gave you an extra 5 minutes to pee, and then by all means come back because there's a whole lot more social media stuff going on, and I get to be your MC for the day. So I'm Chris Brogan. Get the hell out of here. Come back later.